everybody, what is going on? This is your boy, David, aka Preacher Man, and I'm your favorite podcaster. And I'm coming to you live from the Carolinas. And I want to just talk to you today about the economy and what is going on, because there's so much going on, and there's so many people losing jobs, and there's so many people looking for answers, and they want to know, why is it that this economy is so slow? We in America, we in a great country. We're in a country where we're supposed to be able to go out here and get the job, live the lifestyle we want to live, but now everything's coming to a halt and things are starting to crumble, even though the economy is trying to pick back up. So today I just want to kind of just elaborate and talk with you guys, if you let me, and listen to me talk about what's going on. But before I get into that, I want to thank my sponsor, decalworld.com, for allowing your company to invest in the podcast and invest into what we have going on here. I also want to give some shout outs to our listeners out there who are loyal listeners on all our major platforms, whether that's YouTube, whether that's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Podbean, and so on. So today we're going to get right to it. We're going to talk about what it is and what's going on. So the first things that I want to talk about is we are seeing furloughs in the airline industry, and that is because a lot of people are not taking flights due to the scare of COVID-19 that has been put out. And I want to talk just briefly right quick about COVID-19 and how we as Americans need to overcome this scare and stop being scared of really going out there and just enjoying our life, because we're not made to be boxed in. We're not made to be living in our, just living in the house, meaning like when I say living in the house, meaning just staying in the house and not wanting to get out. You know, we're not made that way. We weren't born to stay in the house and just be individualized, you know what I'm saying? And that is what's happening in America. We have taken what we would call normal routines of life, whether that's taking your family vacation or a family trip somewhere, and have not done that because we are afraid of catching COVID and what COVID can do to our bodies, and all of these big time things that we see happening on national television or reading about in our local newspaper or reading about in the USA Today or whatnot. All of these things play a big factor, and you have to really get yourself in the groove of really living your life. And I've always preached that in anything that I'm doing. I always teach that to everyone that's around me, because we cannot afford to sit and close our minds because of the COVID, that pandemic that's going on. When you look at life, there are so many things that are going on around you, and there are so many things that you're breathing in that you don't know are toxic, and that don't really, and it doesn't harm you. But if they were to tell you that, hey, because you're breathing this, that, and the third from a tree, that it can cause you cancer, or it can cause you this, it can cause you that. So make sure when you're out by trees that you wear a mask or whatnot. And that's the same thing with COVID. You know, they tell you this is what you need to do, this is how it needs to be handled. Then they shut down your city, your town, and then next thing you know, you're okay with it for a little while. But then when your job is on the line, or when everything is on the line, bills got to be paid, and the government is not dishing out the money you think should be dished out, then obviously, you want to make that change that, hey, we need to go back to being able to go to work and be able to just have our economy thriving or our city thriving. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because once I get into this, a lot of what plays a role into a lot of the furloughs and what's playing a lot of roles into our local cities and our local states and federal government and federal agencies with things closing down is because of the scare tactics that have been put in place to control your mind and control who you are and change your lifestyle because of this, that, and the third that's going on. So, but I want to just talk briefly about a lot of the things. The first one I'm going to start off with is the airline industry. All right, the airline industry, in order for the airline industry to thrive, we as people must travel, right? And when we're not traveling because of COVID-19 and restrictions and all of these things that have been put on us that we're not used to, we fall back. And when I say fall back, it has been a big fall back. People have stopped traveling. People have take it to other routes of just staying in the house or staying at home because that's what they think and they feel is necessary because CDC and all of these people are telling you and us and me that we need not to travel and that we need to stay home, right? But we're wearing masks. So if we're wearing masks, why are we staying home? Okay, and I just want to throw that out there because yet people are losing jobs. And the biggest thing with America is we thrive on job, being able to work. This is the America dream that everybody talks about is an expensive dream. So let that be known. It's very expensive to live in America because of all of these politicians and people that want a taxation and they want to do all of these things. But America is expensive. In order for us to thrive and live in America, you must be working, period. So when we look at the airline industry and that there's so many layoffs going on, right, we have to realize that it's because of us, Americans. We are to help our fellow Americans. Yes, they tell us to stay home, and yes, they tell us to do all of these things, but yet we are not realizing that it does affect others, right? It affects others. And you might be saying, well, hey, that you don't have a job. That's what you might be saying. Or hey, you don't have the money to spend on airfare. Or maybe I don't want to go and affect my friends who I might visit every year because of COVID. Or maybe my friends are the ones that don't want me to come down to visit because of the COVID. But what I'm going to tell you is this. You have to, in order for this thing to thrive and people to stop losing jobs, we have to invest in the jobs that are being lost. And when I'm looking at American Airlines or airline companies in general, because I love to fly Delta. I'm a big Delta airline flyer, and I'm a SkyMiles member, right? So my biggest thing is I like to fly. I have a flight next month, actually, November next month, next month. I have a flight that's going out. So I'm investing in the airline industry because I will be flying out. So my biggest thing to all Americans is that we have to pick up where the government is not. And that's the truth. All right, so if you are able to fly and you fly every year, put your mask on, mask up, and whatever you need to do, and let's get this thing rolling. Because as we see, the economy is going to keep trickling in a downward spiral because of the lack of funding. And the way that airlines get funding is through travelers. Travelers make up a lot of the travel industry. That's why it's called travel. Travel, because you're going places, you're moving in a direction. And I think with this pandemic, everybody needs to travel somewhere because you are stuck in a mindset where you can't get out of the ruckus of just sitting around, right? And as Americans, we don't just sit around a lot. We like to travel. We like to go to the beach. We like to go here. We love to go there. We love to just be able to be free and go where we want to go. And with the pandemic, it has taken freedom to a whole different level, and it has put you in a mindset that I can't be free because of restrictions. All right, restrictions are just in place. There are things that you can do in order to overcome restrictions. And I think as Americans, we need to do that instead of just sitting around and watching people die out. Because we're saying, hey, I can't go over here because I'm not responsible enough. Or I can't go over there because I'm not responsible enough. Put your mask on, mask up, and let's do what we need to do, America. Let's do that. All right. The next thing I want to talk about now is Walt Disney. We all love Walt Disney. We all see Walt Disney. And I got it that we haven't seen Walt Disney put on any types of commercials as they normally would because of the pandemic has slowed and taken a lot of the money. When it comes to these things, people are put into a situation because of us not going to these places. So I don't live in an area where there is a Disney World. All right, I don't. So I don't go to Disney like that. If I could, and if I lived in the area, I probably would go because I take my children or whatever, or with the staff and us, we'll go to Disney sometime to just hang out because we also need getaways, right? So the thing about it is everything, it takes money and it takes people to not be scared, but to be responsible and go out there and do the right thing. And I think that if we do the right thing, we can see people that have been affected, furloughed, laid off, or whatnot, fired, whatever the case may be able to retain employment. And that is the number one thing in America is employment. I mean, I don't care what president or what politician gets up there. If you're not talking money, which is basically the big boom in business here in America, then there's no reason for you to be selected. All right, and that goes for anybody. I don't care what color your skin is. And that's something that we're dealing with in America, is the color of people's skin and what you look like. And that's a bunch of bull, but I'm not on that subject. I'm on this whole thing of business, okay? And how we can help further our economy. And understanding that the pandemic did play a role, and still does to this day play a role. But I think that it's by choice, by human mind choice, to say, okay, hey, I've been in the house too long. Hey, I haven't been at work. Hey, I'm on unemployment. I need to make a change, right? I need to make the choice to get back in line with reality. And that's what a lot of people are not doing. They're not getting back in line with reality because they're feeling that, well, you know, things are going wrong. Right? We hear about people catching COVID every time we look around. And that's the thing about the world. This is the world we live in. News is what is bought up. News is drama. TNT used to be known for drama. If any of you guys know about TNT, TNT was drama. The news is drama. The newspaper is drama. They're not going to write stories that are boring. They're not going to say, well, today 2 people caught COVID. That's not enough. All right, that's not enough. But if I tell you over 100,000 people have caught COVID, yes, we're making people realize there's an importance of staying home. All right, but are they not telling you that, hey, we're affecting people's life. We're affecting people's lifestyle. We're affecting your life because you travel every year, yet you want to stay home. That is not the thing, and that's not what I would to tell people to do, is to stay locked in a box. This is not how America is. This is not how you should make your life, is locked in a box. Yes, we have seen people again on news channels showing us laid up in the bed, connected to IVs and things because they have caught the coronavirus, as they call it. And the thing about this is the coronavirus is just like the flu and anything else, right? You catch it, you get over it. All right? And some people don't come over the flu because their bodies are not immune to fighting that. Right? So when the COVID's here and the COVID's you're going through things with COVID, it's the same exact thing. It's going to fight your body. And if you don't have the body that's able to fight, you will not overcome it. Period. All right, so that's what we need to realize in America. And I get upset because I sit here and I hear people all the time talking about how COVID is this and how we give so much praise to COVID for doing what it's doing. But my thing is this: there are people out here with diseases in their body. If they get sick one time, that's it for them. And instead of news allowing the truth to be, right, the news dramatizes to say, hey, this individual cannot overcome it, not saying that, hey, they had a cancerous condition that had them all the way basically out the door, or they had HIV AIDS that had them basically out the door. Let's be real, America. We're causing our fellow Americans to lose jobs. We're causing our fellow Americans to live in fear. And that's not what we should make them be living in. We should be telling them that, hey, yes, it's things that go on in the world that we have no control over, but yes, you still got to live. You still got to thrive. And one thing my parents always told me, and I'm going to just throw this out there, is one day they will die. Right? And that's what they told me. They said, one day we will die, son, and you still got to overcome. You still got to go on with life. And it's the same thing with the pandemic. You still have to live. You still have to overcome. You still have to conquer what it is that's in front of you. The CDC, the government, and everybody can make up whatever they want to set the agenda on. They can come up with, hey, it's nationwide, it's international, it's this, it's that. And we got that. We respect that. But the thing that we can't respect is people losing jobs and people being unemployed and people losing what they worked hard for. The American dream is not something that you should allow your fellow Americans to lose and to drop after they work hard for it. I mean, I get excited a lot because when I'm talking about things, I'm reading about things, I'm researching things, and I'm talking with people. I see that they're going through, and yet we have a Congress, and we have a government, and we have state officials, and all of these people that look at this and they say, oh, okay, that's cool. All right, I understand. Yeah, that's cool. Let those people go through what they go through. But yet, the White House bills will still be paid if it makes sense. Yet, your local Congress and mayors bills will be paid. Yes, they gave you a little $1,200 check. That's not worth a bunch of nothing. Yes, it helped people in certain ways and in certain avenues, but you have to remember that's a one-time payment, not a lifetime. So let's make that make sense, okay? So when we're talking, and I'm talking about jobs, and I'm talking about people losing what they're really losing, I'm being sincere. And that's why I love the Frazierchronicles, is because we're sincere. And when I come on this live and I'm talking to you, I'm sincere and passionate about what I'm talking about. It's not just like some random show. Okay, I talk about what I got to talk about. And I told you in our first video when it came out that this is not a politically correct channel. So if you want to be politically correct, then this is not the channel for you. But if you can take a little bit of the stress and say, well, hey, let me open my mind, this is what the channel is about. It's about opening your mind. It's about expanding your horizon. This is about what it is about. And this is what about truth, real reality, 100, as we say, all right? So it's just those things. There are two jobs I just talked about, the airline industry, Walt Disney. Now I'm going to talk about the sailing, all right, the cruises, because everybody wants to take cruises. Many people have canceled their cruises, right? So people have canceled cruises due to the unknown certainty of, well, are we cruising? Are we not cruising? Will I catch COVID? Will this happen? Will that happen? You know, one thing that I can say that has really, really, really inspired me in my life is research and opening my mind to expand to new horizons, right? And I'm going to talk about this because I took my first cruise when I got out the military of last year, 2019. I took my cruise, I believe, back in April of 2019. And something that really, really stuck with me was I remember the Titanic. And I remember watching the movie, and then as I got older, I researched the Titanic, the unsinkable ship, as they called it. And some people say that this guy said that even God himself couldn't sink the ship. Now, I would never get on a ship that somebody tells me is unsinkable by God himself. Now, I don't go that far to get on a ship to take my chances on that because I know who God is. But what I will say is this. I could have easily said, well, I don't want to go on a ship because I don't want to hit an iceberg. Because that's what happened to the Titanic, right? The iceberg, it went into an iceberg did this damage to the ship, and the ship sank, and things happened, right? And when I think of cruise boats, they're like big ships, right? And let's just say hypothetically, I don't open my mind to really understand that, hey, this ship went on the wrong path, this ship did this, these are the consequences, this is what happened to cause this. Right? And being closed-minded, I could have easily said, well, hey, I'm not going to go on a cruise because of the simple fact that the Titanic sunk years ago. Right? So I'm going to allow years ago things to affect me today, here in the 21st century. Because that's, as Americans, that's what we do. The reality and the truth is we allow things of the past, we allow things that we hear to control how we think and how we feel. Right? And sometimes things are not even factual events. We hear it, we go with it, and that's that. But if we researched it and we say, okay, hey, you know, things are going to happen, got that, but we got to still thrive and we still got to keep on and keep moving on. So with the CDC, as of right now, they have this no sale policy basically. And it's basically an order, and it's been extended until November. So this is what I think. If it was me, being the cruise line international, or whatever you want to call it, the big wig at the top, the choice I would make for all the people, because I'm gonna throw this out there. When I've been looking at some things and I've been researching, I've been seeing people cancel ships, cancel cruises, right? And then they don't get their money back, or they get a percentage of the money back, or it takes all of this stuff because supposedly all these people got paid. But what really intrigues me on a lot of this stuff is how much of the money are y'all actually saving? Because how is it that people can't get their money back after they paid you, right? And then my thing about it is, it goes like this. If I was over the whole cruise line, I would implement policies and procedures that would limit or stop the spread of this thing called COVID, all right? And alleviate the scaredness of people. Because my thing is, I don't think we should live in a state of fear. I don't think we should live in a country of fear. I don't think your mind should even be of fear. You know, you don't want to live in your house in fear. You don't live in a house full of fear. This can happen. Oh, that can happen. You don't want to live in it. If you do, most people get up, pick up, and sell a house, or pick up and leave where they're ready from to better their mindset. Right? And that's the same thing we need to do here. And what I want to talk about with the cruise line is, on the cruise lines, people are more concerned about this and that. When I went on a cruise, my first cruise last year, you could tell me COVID was here, I wouldn't have cared. I'm having a good time. And people can say, well, that's careless. That's a careless mistake. Well, let me tell you this. If I'm going to live in a state of fear, I can stay in my house and live in fear. I don't need to go in the general public. I don't need to do those things because all my fear does is make me react to people who might not care or people who might care, and I might say the wrong thing because of my fear, right? And I shouldn't cast my fear on you, right? And that's what we have become in America. We become people that want to cast fear on everything. We want to tell you that you better live the way we live. You better do this. You better do that. And if you don't do it, you're the bad person. You don't care. You're not careful. And I think being younger, being a part of the young crowd in America, that, as young folks, we do different things, right? I'm not young like the youngest people that's out here like 18, 19. I'm not young like that, but I call myself still fairly young. And I feel that people, when they are older, right, they make different choices. A lot of people in the CDC and Congress and the White House, they're old people. They're senior citizens. They get discounts. And I'm not trying to be funny, but they get discounts. So they look at things a lot different than what we look at it, right? And I think that when we look at life, all right, new life, right, being young, a lot of stuff that we see, pandemics have been going on for centuries, right? It's just now that we want to address that, right? Ebola came up. Every year during the presidential election is something. And if you don't believe me, go back, look. The last presidential election, I want to say it was Ebola. And then the last one was some stuff with healthcare. It's just always something, right? To stir the pot, to get reelected. That's what the officials do. But anyways, I just want to throw that out about CDC and how they have these effects on the cruise line, right? But I think if you live in America, hell, you should take a cruise. I mean, hell, it's one of the greatest things to get out of America and go see another country. Because what you've been reading in your history books is not even correct. That every country is a third world country, they're war-ridden, and they need all America's assistance. Well, when you go look at some countries, they're not third world countries, and they don't need America's assistance. They are thriving in the way they believe to thrive, right? But if you're closed-minded, then you're going to believe the way closed-minded people. If you're open-minded, then you have an opportunity to actually believe and take beliefs and take false stuff and say, okay, well, I'm going to take this because I believe this and I see this, and I'm going to take this falsehood and I'm going to throw it out the trash can. Right? But if you don't ever travel, then you'll never see those things. I think every American should travel. I think every American should get out of America and go international and see what international's like. And I believe that wholeheartedly because it will give you a brighter outlook on life and it gives you a brighter outlook on travel. Right? And it lets you know that there are people in your own country here in America that hate you more than the person international hates you. And that is real life stuff, you guys. That's real life. Real life, I mean real life, I'm talking real life. And I want to just let people know that you don't have to be scared. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be scared of, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? And that's all we're living in is about a bunch of what ifs, right? They said 200,000 people have caught COVID. They said 200,000 people have died. They're estimating that 300 and something thousand will be dead by the end of December. These are numbers. These are just estimates. These are things that they're coming up with because of their way of thinking. It doesn't have to be your way of thinking. You have to overcome these things and stop saying, well, I've seen this and I've seen the same thing. Hell, I read about it in the newspaper too. I've seen it on news. I'm just like you. I live in America. I'm human. I have same thoughts. But the thing that changed me and you, and the difference between me and you, is you take news for what it is. I don't take things for what it is. I do my own research. And I'm open-minded. Because I believe that anybody that wants to be fooled is a closed-minded person. And anybody that wants to be knowledgeable is an open-minded person. So you have two minds in America. Open and closed. You need to pick which one you are. I'm not going to tell you which one to pick, but I'm going to tell you from my experience that an open-minded person, and especially being open-minded, you open your mind up to think differently, to talk differently, to walk differently, to engage in certain things differently, because that's who you are. And if you are a closed-minded person, then you're going to get closed-minded things. And I believe that everybody in America needs to be working if they can work. I believe that everybody in America that has the opportunity, and I'm going to tell you like this, and the reason I'm going to tell you this because, everybody has this thing called retirement in their life, right? Everybody has this goal of retiring. And everybody talks about retiring. And as long as you're away from work, that takes away from your retirement. So that's an extra year you have to work, right? And that's or extra months you have to work. One thing that I can say is this. This is an opportunity for everybody all around the globe that works to actually put savings away. Because this pandemic should teach you a lot. Put savings monies away. Put this away. Stop always spending because you have it, right? We need to stop being those type of people. We're taught to be those people because of being closed-minded, right? Once I opened my mind to understand the value of a dollar, I made the different choices to actually save, to actually invest, to actually put money where it needs to go. Not to just take my money on payday and go get the latest cut on my head, right? Or the latest sneakers, as we call it, on our feet, or the latest outfit. We don't need to do that. Now, invest your money in something. Invest in this, invest in that. Hey, you can invest in Frazierchronicles. We're always looking for investment. We're always looking for donations, right? And if you're going to put your money somewhere, put money somewhere that you're going to get something out of something was to happen to you. That's what you do, all right? And I'm just going to talk about that because I think that it's important and it's imperative to the American people, right? And me being Preacher Man, David, aka Preacher Man, the one and only, the realest dude that is known here in the industry of podcasting and all of these things. I'm a realistic guy. I don't believe in me telling you falsehood and keeping you on your toes and making sure that you don't go outdoors and making sure that, if a guy is not wearing a mask that you go, yeah, I don't do stuff like, I don't tell you to go yell at a man who don't have a woman or a girl who don't have a mask on. I've been in the store, I'm going to just throw this out. I've been in the store, I'm going to tell you a little story real quick. So I was in a store out there in Charlotte called IKEA. I was doing some shopping. And this guy, him and his girl was on his aisle. There was some kids. I was on the same aisle and stuff. And this guy just goes out of nowhere and says, why all of these people don't have masks on? Talking about, those kids in the area that didn't have masks on. And one thing that really triggered me was, why are you asking a dumb question? You got a damn mask on. Why are you worrying about the next man or the next woman or the next child that doesn't have one? If you have a mask on, be concerned about you and yourself and your mask. That's what you do. And I think that's what's caused a lot of people to be scared and not want to go nowhere is because they don't know how people are going to react if they wear a mask and how people are going to react if they don't. People be people, right? We're human nature. We're going to do what humanized minds do, right? But the big thing that my parents have always illustrated to me is to mind your business. And I think in America, it's so much of people minding each other's business. Just being in each other's business, not caring, right? Want to be in your business, want to be in your neighbor's business, want to be in your friend's business, want to be in your coworker's business, want to be in everybody's business, right? So that you can go have something to talk about. Well, talk about yourself. Focus on yourself. Right? Find out your 10-year goal. Find out your 5-year goal. Find out your 3-year goal. 20-year goal. 30-year. Find your goals out and stop minding other folks' business. You can mind other folks' business, and you got a lot of time to really focus on your life and figure out what you want to do. Right? So that's what I had to throw out there. And I want people, because it's not just those big-time jobs that people are getting laid off. They're getting laid off of just any type of job, because it's just because of the lack of spending. People are not spending as much, or people don't have the money to spend, right? People are becoming homeless. These things in America, right? And the faster we get the economy up, the faster we can get back to where we were. I don't call anything a new norm, right? Because there is no new norm in the world. There's no new norm. Everything that's in the world has been in the world for years. This COVID thing has been around for years. HIV/AIDS has been around for years. Diabetes has been around for years. Cancer has been around for years. All people do is adjust to what is around them, because that's all you can do. I can't go and change people who have AIDS and HIV, right? I can't go and and change people who has the COVID virus. I can't go and change people who have diabetes. Why? Because that is a part of this world that we live in. And we have to be understood. We have to understand, and we have to be very open-minded to understand what it is that is around us and how it plays a big factor in our life. And I think that's important.